Art history can be boring.
It's staring at old images you're meant to appreciate but have no idea why, accompanied by long academic texts that are difficult to follow with names you can't pronounce and terms you don't understand.
And at university, it's even worse.
Dark lecture halls where you're expected to learn a baffling amount of names and dates and movements from an endless slideshow of pixelated photos from Google Images.
On top of this, the field comes with a side of alienation and elitism.
It's not uncommon for the average person to walk out of an art history class and decide to swap out to something they deem more exciting.
Many believe that art history is just for rich, white people who have education and sophistication. After watching a video with the same title from the art assignment on YouTube, I absolutely agreed with her position that the way art history is taught is problematic. And that is why you don't like art history. More often than not,
art history classes are taught by a dry, old, crusty teacher who simply flickers through a series of images projected onto a screen, talking in depth about names, dates, movements, and technical art knowledge.
That is not fun. It's incredibly boring and makes many feel stupid that don't already know terms and artists that are thrown around the room.
We have this dire need for a dynamic and exciting education of art history that can rework the notion that art history is boring.
Because let me tell you, it really isn't. I remember my own university days where one of my old white male teachers focused for a whole 30 minutes on one of the boobs depicted in a Picasso painting.
Rarely were women artists shown before modernism, and if they were, it was very briefly.
A female who somewhat identifies as an artist, I felt alienated. Surrounded by like-minded females in the lecture hall seats, staring at these so-called great masters of art whom we could never truly relate to. As with Green, I love art and learning and creating.
But it felt like there was little to no recognition for the way art history has shaped the way we live today and continues to stay relevant to this day.
We're so often taught solely about the art, when in my belief, the artist and their story is integral to understanding their works.
Imagine if we were not only taught about how Picasso had an incredible impact on the trajectory of art history,
but he was an abusive, misogynistic, and overall kind of horrible human being. Or what if we were taught that a lot of artworks were misattributed or stolen
by husbands and fathers from their wives and daughters instead of letting them shine themselves?
There is little to no recognition that the lives artists lead directly correlate to their art, which in turn impacts the world around them. As stated by Green, the way art history is currently taught
creates this false sense of mastery and is detailed in a way that simply lists off topics where this happened, then this, then this.
There is either progress or no progress. This creates a gap in what was happening concurrently.
For instance, did you know that the Rococo and Neoclassical movements existed together for approximately 30 years? The Renaissance and Mannerism coexisted for approximately 75 years.
But we're taught about them as if they happened one after the other, as if each movement completely stopped one year and the next another started, when that is not true at all. The way these movements interacted and responded to one another is something that's severely lacking in the education of art history. We can all acknowledge that there's a huge sense of elitism linked to art and art history. As an art historian myself,
I would love for the general public to know more about art and the crazy side of its history. I want everyone to know about why art is so powerful and why it is needed, but instead it is held on a pedestal which creates a sense of fear and intimidation that pushes people away from learning more. The way that art history is taught is wrong, and I wish that there was a way I could fix it. If you want to see an analysis and background of one of the most famous works of art history, don't forget to watch my previous video, The Story Behind the Birth of Venus. Thanks for watching, I'll see you next time.